Hey y'all! If you notice, there's something new. Pink Clouds has a new HQ. I hope you're doing well. It's been like a while since I've made a proper video. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's been a while since I've made a proper video. Just actually sitting down and talking to you guys and, a video with like actual research and proper work like put into it. 2 weeks ago, I uploaded a video that was literally just me doing my hair and talking. But I uploaded that because I just needed to rip the band-aid off and stop sort of procrastinating making a video. I just had to get something out there. But I feel like once I stop putting that pressure on myself to make a video that's really fab and really good, I feel like once that pressure is gone, that's when the creative juices start flowing. And why am I laughing though? It's not that funny. Anyway, I think that's when the creative juices start flowing and I get a lot more, motivation and determination to make a proper video. Go figure. So I've been going through a pretty hectic time over the past couple of months, between walking balls and working and planning for the future. I guess I've just been super preoccupied and busy, and I've just not been in the mental space to make an actual good video for you guys, and to not even just for you guys, because nobody watched my shit, even to make a good video for myself. I just haven't been in the proper headspace to make a video that I'm proud of. And I also moved recently, if you notice. I moved out of my old place and accommodation. This space is a lot more stable. It's a lot better. As you can see, the room is much more of an extension of myself than the last place was, because it's a lot more permanent. Permanent is not the right word, but it's a lot more stable than the last room. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't really talk about everything that's happening in my life on my YouTube channel, obviously, because I just don't think that it's for you guys to know. I think that as the leader of the Pink Clouds, we're just here to have a good time. We're here to forget about all the worldly stuff about accommodation and houses and money and working and whatever. We're just here to kill. This is just gonna be us having fun. So don't worry about me. I am fine and everything, and I am super excited to get back into making proper videos now. And I really hope that I am actually consistent this time, and that I actually put my editing where my mouth is, instead of just being yeah, I'm gonna be super consistent, and then I upload one video and then I leave you guys hanging for months before the next one. I just feel we need to stop. We need to stop that. So today's video is going to hopefully be the start of a new series called Beyond PHOBISMS. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if this can be a long-term series. I'm not sure how many of these I can do, but you guys know me. I never really think that far. Right now it seems I have maybe a couple ideas of media to cover that I'm oh, this is gonna be a series, but I can't actually promise that. It's basically going to be where I discuss pieces of media that have had a significant impact on me specifically, notwithstanding obviously the various phobias and isms that those pieces of media have within themselves. Now, just as a disclaimer, this isn't going to be a series where I play some sort of fucking white boy devil's advocate. It's not going to be the series either where I sort of strip pieces of media down to where we ignore the phobias and isms that they come with. This will hopefully be a series where I actually point out and highlight the various, isms and phobias, but in context with the purpose of the movie, how it made me feel, and what it was at the time. I think that obviously, as someone who is me, like, I'm just me. I don't have every single intersection in the world. You know, I'm just black and a girl and trans. I have to say it quietly because I don't know if the people in this house know. So I just have to keep it on the low. Or maybe they do. Like, it's not that hard to tell. I don't have every single intersection in the world, so my ability to point out all the phobias and isms that these pieces of media are going to come with is going to be limited within what I know and what stands out to me specifically based off of my life. I will obviously try my best to do research and, you know, try and find out things that are, you know, that everybody's saying is wrong with the pieces of media. But again, this is something that I cannot promise because I'm literally just a girl. I'm literally just a girl talking about media. Like, it's not gonna give that, but it's gonna give something. You know what I mean? Anyway, with all of the disclaimers out of the way, we're gonna be discussing one of my favorite movies from when I was a teenager called Everything, Everything. So just a quick little sort of, I guess, synopsis of the movie. Everything, Everything is some sort of like romantic drama, American, of course, that was directed by Stella McGee and written by J. Mills Goodluck. It's based on Nicole Yoon's book of the same name called Everything, Everything, that was released in 2015. The movie's plot is centered around a girl who has a serious medical condition that prevents her from being able to leave the house. Her name is Maddie Whittier, and a New York-raised new neighbor that moves in that is in a tumultuous family situation that wants to help her experience the world, and his name is Ollie White. So both characters are played respectively by the actors Amanda Stenberg and my daddy, Nick Robinson. Okay, like, I know this is literally like the most generic like white boy in the world, and me saying that is probably problematic in and of itself, but here's the thing, right? I was 13 and he left a huge impression on 13-year-old Ella. Like, I did not know any better. You just gotta give me some grace. You know what I mean? It's kind of like those boys that have like their first love or something when they're in fucking kindergarten, and every single girl that they encounter and they get involved with after that girl, it's just them trying to look for that kindergarten first love. You know what I mean? So like, in a way, like, Nick Robinson was my kindergarten first love, if that makes sense. So the movie is based in suburban Los Angeles, where Maddie, who we're introduced to from the very start of the movie, is being treated for an immune deficiency called SCID, which stands for Severe Combined Immunodeficiencies. And according to Wikipedia, which I have here, they are a rare group of genetic disorders characterized by the body's inability to create functional T cells and B cells. SCIDs are the most severe form of primary immunodeficiency, making their sufferers extremely vulnerable to infection due to their highly compromised immune system. And this basically sets the premise of the whole movie. As you can probably deduce, because of this disorder, she's not allowed to leave the house, and she's not allowed to interact with anyone who has not been sanitized. She also breathes in filtered air. She's been breathing in filtered air her entire life because she can't have any impurities in the air that she breathes. However, unfortunately, she also yearns to see the world, especially the ocean. So we can sort of see the conflict, the main conflict of the plot that furthers the plot's progression. So all of this is revealed to us from the moment that the movie starts. We also get a cute little visual representation of SCID for the people watching. Obviously, it's not very scientific or detailed because this is not an infographic movie. It's still meant for entertainment. The purpose is still just romance rather than actual information. Additionally, we also get to know about Maddie's hobbies and what she gets up to when she's in the house, such as exercising, creating small buildings based off of an architecture class she takes, browsing the internet, specifically watching cat videos, and also the hobby that forwards the plot the most, which is her reading. And she doesn't just read, she actually writes reviews on the books that she reads and posts them on a blog that she, I guess, owns. Anyway, so towards the end of her little introduction, she says something like, everything is all the same here, maybe today is going to be different. And just as she says that, we see a family move in from across the street, conveniently, and then we are quickly introduced to our very obvious love interest, Ollie White. And also, can I just say, her saying, perhaps today will be different because she saw a cute boy, is probably one of the most relatable. It's probably one of the most relatable things about like Maddie in the entire fucking movie. Obviously that's a lie, I'm exaggerating, but I'm just like, girl, same, maybe today will be different, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is also where we get the scene of Ollie that is burned into my brain and burned into my heart. It was really like the uniform of like wearing all black, the black t-shirt, the black jeans. He was literally skating when Maddie saw him, and then he had like the swoopy hair, he had like the crooked smile, he had like the, you know, he looked safe, you know what I mean? Like he had the girls in a chokehold, miss. When I tell y'all, he did numbers on Tumblr back in my day, like he did numbers. Now obviously remember I said that Maddie has SCID, and with having such a severe like immune condition, you would need someone to take care of you quite regularly and to be, you know, on the clock with you. And what better person to do that than your own mother? Yes, her mother is actually a doctor, and she basically treats Maddie on a daily basis and monitors her medication and monitors her health and like her vitals and everything. Like her mother's name is Pauline Whittier, and she is played by the most gorgeous woman in the world. Like, oh my gosh. I remember when I saw her, like when I first watched the movie, I just thought like, oh my gosh, like if I was to ever become a mom, this is how I want to look. Like that, she is so gorgeous. She is played by Annika Nani Rose. Oh, Annika. Now, she's also cared for by her nurse, Carla, and Carla's daughter, and Pauline, her mother, are the only three people that Maddie is allowed to interact with at all. So remember how I said that people have to be sanitized before they come in? Yes, whilst that is true, Maddie's mom also just doesn't let her see anybody else outside of the three of those people. This is also an important part of the progression of the plot. Now, cute little Ollie White comes over with his sister to Maddie's house, offering a bundt cake. Now, this is kind of a caveat, but I remember seeing this bundt cake when I was like 13 and thinking, who in the world would ever want to eat a cake like that? Like, it just looked so dry and stale and hard. And I was just like, who in the world would ever want a bundt cake? In my head, bundt cakes were the problem. It wasn't until like I got older and did my own research for some fucking reason, and also tasted bundt cake, that I realized, oh, like bundt cakes are actually delicious. It's just Ollie and his sister that are bringing in like a shitty baked bundt cake to welcome themselves to the neighborhood. Like, and you know, I know this was supposed to be some sort of comedic relief for the movie, but in Pauline's defense, even if my daughter didn't have SCID, the fact that you're coming in to welcome, like, how did you expect to make a good first impression with your neighbors by bringing in a badly baked hard ass cake? Like, it just seems like such a low effort welcoming gift. Like, I would have told Maddie, babe, this is dust. I would have told Maddie he's a dusty. Anyway, so Pauline obviously rejects the cake. Like, even if the cake was fucking sanitized, like, bitch, I don't want your fucking hard ass shit. Pauline rejects the cake, and before she's about to close the door, Ollie asks her if her daughter is home. Obviously, Pauline lies and says that Maddie is not home, but she does sense Maddie's desire to get to know Ollie, and senses that Ollie wants to get to know Maddie as well. So because of this, and to protect Maddie, she blocks all opportunities for her to see Ollie. This is also where we get the scene that adds depth to Ollie's character, by revealing that his father is actually violent and their relationship is strained. So later on, Ollie writes his email address on the window for Maddie, and they begin to contact each other through email. So they start getting to know each other a little bit and eventually become very fond of each other. Knowing her mother wouldn't approve, of course, Maddie then convinces Carla to please let Ollie come into the house. But then Carla obviously, she agrees, but it's under the condition that obviously he's sanitized, and when he does come in here, that they stand on opposite sides of the room and don't touch, obviously, or get close to each other. She then invites Ollie on the night of the 4th of July to come over because Maddie's mom was not home. One thing leads to another, and they eventually end up kissing. The next day, Maddie sees Ollie fighting with his dad. So in an attempt to, I don't know what she was planning to do, maybe save Ollie, comfort Ollie, she literally runs outside. She opens the door and everything. She just runs outside. Mind you, this is a girl that has never been outside in her life. And also, mind you, Pauline, her mom, is right there. And as far as Pauline is concerned, Maddie has also, she still believes that Maddie has never left the house. So for a girl that has never left the house, what would be the reason for her to run off with some random new neighbor boy to try and save him from his father? Oh, my sister knew something was up. She knew something was up. She was like, bitch, I've been there. I think I would have thought the same thing. Like, I would have known something was fishy from the jump, honestly. From that alone, I knew that they've seen each other. Oops. So obviously she forbids them from ever seeing each other. Ollie tries to get Maddie to go back inside, of course, because he's like, oh my god, Maddie, what are you doing? Get back inside. And because he's such a sweetheart and everything, unfortunately, Maddie just likes him too much. Real girl, real. Her mother then forbids them from ever seeing each other, and she later then fires Carla for betraying her trust. This scene was so heartbreaking to me. First of all, because Carla, she has been with Maddie all of her life. She has built a connection with Maddie. This is more, yes, first of all, I'm sure she needs the job. She might not, but even so, when you've spent so much time with someone, you develop a connection with them, and you don't want to leave them. So to just get fired as though this is a job, Pauline was not playing, and I get why she wasn't playing, because I'm not gonna have my daughter die because y'all wanna fuck. It's no shade, but at the same time, I was so sad because I saw myself in Carla a lot in this scene. As someone who's quite empathetic and everything, I understood her wanting to take a risk and break some boundaries just to try and make Maddie happy. And the fact that she immediately got fired for stepping out of the cracks because she wanted to make Maddie happy literally broke my heart. I was like, girl, I wish this didn't happen to you. And fuck you, Maddie, for putting Carla in this position. Oh, I kind of get it, because Carla should have said no, but still. Maddie decides to take matters into her own hands, and she uses a credit card that she opened online previously to get tickets to go to Hawaii, 2 tickets to go to Hawaii with Ollie. And then Ollie tells his sister, Ollie obviously goes with her because he wouldn't want to go to fucking Hawaii, and he calls his sister to say that he has gone off to Hawaii with Maddie and to take care of their mother. Now, love Ollie down, love Maddie down, love the movie down, but why is my girl the one buying the tickets to go to Hawaii? I know Ollie doesn't have money and stuff, but how is a girl that has been inside her whole life still the one providing for you? Do you see why I say that there's a chance that Ollie is dust? Because how does that make sense? And no shade, Maddie, I'm not gonna be too hard on you because you literally have never stepped outside, so of course you're gonna be this, but you are a pick-me-sha. And we're gonna sort that out later on, maybe. So in Hawaii, we really get a glimpse of what Maddie and Ollie could look like if Maddie was able to leave the house, of course. And I think this Hawaii trip and this scene in general was such an important part of the movie for us to see. However, Pauline obviously notices that Maddie is gone and gets a police car to try and look for them. As she was outside, she sees Ollie's sister and asks her if she knows where Ollie and, Maddie are. And she lies and denies it and says she doesn't know where they are. So, unfortunately, as the trip progressed, London Bridge started falling down as Maddie passes out and has to be rushed to the hospital, and then she wakes up and she's back home in her room. So she breaks off all contact with Ollie because she doesn't want to make another mistake, or like life-threatening mistake for love, which honestly makes a lot of sense. If I was in Maddie's position, I would block him immediately. Like, I'm just like, I like you too much, and I will take every single risk in the world to try and be with you, so I'm literally just gonna act like you don't exist. However, because she cut all contact with him and she stopped replying to his emails, she wasn't able to say goodbye to him when his mother decides to leave his father and take both him and his sister back to New York with her. So a doctor from Hawaii actually calls Maddie and tells her that she doesn't have something as severe as SCID, and obviously dumbfounded, she went to go search and scour all of her mother's records looking for anything that would show that she has had SCID ever in her life, and evidently she did not find anything. Obviously furious with her mother. Like, I don't even know how I would feel in Maddie's position if this happened to me. I think that I would have probably done something worse. I think she handled it so maturely for something so crazy. She got upset at her mom and she just left the house and she went to go live with Carla and her daughter Rosa. The doctor explains to her that she never had SCID, but she does have an underdeveloped immune system because she's been breathing filtered air her entire life, obviously. As a kid, your body does a lot to prepare you to be an adult, and being around obviously unfiltered impure air, or even when y'all like, you know, when someone will catch chicken pox from another kid as a kid, or someone will catch a cold, or someone will do this, someone will do that, like these are all things that are meant to build up your immune system so that when you become an adult you have a strong immune system that can, you know, fight off easy things and also has the energy to fight off more, you know, like serious things, you know what I mean? But obviously she didn't get that, which is why she passed out in Hawaii, because that was literally her first time breathing in such impure air. So then Maddie's mother explains to her that when her brother and her father died in a car crash, she was all that she had left, and she didn't want to lose Maddie, basically, and that's why she did what she did. But understandably, Maddie was not like really hearing any of this. She's still, you know, and so was Pauline. Pauline understood why Maddie was like behaving the way that she did. She knows she was wrong. She knows she was wrong, big wrong. So she, you know, she packed a bag for Maddie, gave her bags, and Maddie left to New York, where she was then reunited with Ollie, and they literally run away into the sunset. Now, of course, this movie did come with its own fair share of problems and controversy, one of which being it's alleged, so I don't get in trouble. Not saying it's not there, but it's alleged, so I don't get in trouble. Alleged inaccurate portrayal of living with a disability. An excerpt from an article written by Jennifer J. Johnson notes that I have here. Notes, Maddie's world is turned upside down by the arrival of the handsome boy next door, Ollie. She watches him through the window, he notices, and performs charming, adorable pantomime theater for her. They begin to IM instant message. He assumes she's grounded. She takes a while to tell him about her condition out of shame, which I've never felt, but then again, I'm a different person. Who am I to say some people don't feel ashamed of their wonky immune systems? They flirt, they persuade the home nurse to let him stay inside. They deal with the no-touching policy, they break the no-touching policy, they elope to Hawaii. And that's where the major flaw of this novel comes in. Not only does it trot out the tired old chestnut of you aren't living with a disability unless you live, throw caution to the wind, stop caring for your ailment, and accept mortality, or else you're just existing. And there's the ableist narrative in all its horrible glory. You can't have a happy ending if you're still disabled. Happy endings in true love come to the well-bodied. I suppose it was a nice bone to throw that Ollie loved Maddie even when he thought everything would kill her, in which case it's stunning that they had sex with regular condoms. Latex is such a common allergy that you'd think she'd mention specifically getting hypoallergenic ones just in case. But the happy ending is still, nope, not really disabled, just the victim of a traumatized mother, whose PTSD made her too overprotective to let me out of the house. So much for earning your happy ending. She then concludes by saying, I'd give it 3 stars out of 4 for the opening and 1 star out of 4 for the closing. averaging 2 stars in total. It's still a nice book about nice people, but it's a deeply problematic narrative. Disability is not just a romantic hurdle to get over, nor is it a guarantee of bad parenting. Characters with disabilities get little enough representation, and when a disability that could conceivably work against the love and sex life of a disabled character happens, it feels rather insulting to not show any work towards those issues that real disabled people might face, instead hand-waving away all their issues for the happy ending, especially a happy ending that comes at the expense of scapegoating another disability. Now, although this review is obviously about the book, it still stands for the movie itself. The article garnered dozens of comments from people largely agreeing with what Jennifer was saying, obviously. One of the top commenters said yes to this 1,000 times. I sort of saw the twist coming because, I've read thousands of books and seen thousands of movies. Also, when they make it all the way to Hawaii and to having adventures, nope, not scared. But seeing the twist coming wasn't the problem. Also, most teen readers won't, so there's that. It was everything you mentioned here. We have so few books about teens with chronic illness that to have one be like, but not really, woo, was a letdown. I mean, not every book has to be everything, but it's still a letdown. Then again, about 2 years later when the movie was actually released, a Teen Vogue article was written literally 3 days after the movie's debut, titled, "What Everything Gets Wrong About Living as a Disabled Person." And this article was written by Alaina Leary, who is actually a queer, disabled activist and author, who has written for multiple publications and blogs, including Everyday Feminism, Ravishly, a Medium publication titled The Establishment, as well as even more notable names such as Vice, Refinery 29, and even NEDA, the National Eating Disorders Association. So this is definitely a girl that knows exactly what the fuck she's talking about. She's written lots and lots of articles centered around her experiences being queer and disabled, as well as the experiences of other people in her community. So she starts off the Teen Vogue article by giving a quick description of the movie, and then goes on to say that ever since the trailers and the previews were released, the disabled community has been conflicted on the disability representation, and many people have criticized the movie for its portrayal of common disability tropes. Brie May, who is a chronically ill podcaster and social media manager, says, with a tagline like "risk everything for love," Everything tells viewers that it's brave, even inspirational, to take drastic risks, even though in Maddie's case, that risk could kill her. When the risk is a disabled character leaving behind all the adaptive devices that keep them alive, you send the message that those assistive fixtures are incompatible with a fulfilling life or romance. Annie Sagara, who's also known as Annie Leary, who is a content creator and also intersectional activist, believes that this trope can be harmful for both people who are new to disability and are still adjusting, and to people with long-term disabilities, because it causes them to question if their limitations make their lives less meaningful. It's dangerous and definitely plays a role in the self-esteem of people with disabilities and the overall societal opinion of the community. It isn't until the climax of the movie that we learn Maddie doesn't actually have SCID, although she has an episode of myocarditis. I don't know what that is. I probably should have searched up what that is. I'm so sorry. I don't know what that is. While she's in Hawaii, her physicians in Maui confirm she's never been sick with SCID. Everything promptly shifts from a story about what it's like to live with a disability to a story about Munchausen syndrome by proxy and parental medical abuse. While it's a fascinating plot twist and likely relatable to teens with manipulative and abusive parents, it's a gut punch to disabled viewers, because we're left without the authentic representation we came into the movie so excited for. And as one Goodreads reviewer points out, the plot twist is even more upsetting to those who do have SCID. The article then goes on to say, we see disability cure plots all the time in the media, most notably in the famous scene from Forrest Gump, when Forrest is being bullied and starts to run. His leg braces fall off his leg as he does, freeing him from the limitations of his physical disability. But these stories only serve to perpetuate the trope that life with a disability isn't truly living, because the happy ending is that the character is no longer disabled, or never truly was to begin with. In reality, there are many disabled people who don't want to be cured and have successful, fulfilling lives with their disabilities. And even though she doesn't have to do this, because of her innate journalistic integrity, she's not even bashing the movie. She still goes on to say that there are a lot of nuanced realities portrayed in Everything, such as the experience of navigating dating with a disability. When Maddie and Ollie are getting to know each other, Ollie is accommodating to Maddie's limitations and willing to come into her purified home after decontaminating himself. Their banter via text, coupled with Maddie's active imagination, feel true for a disabled person. When I'm not able to physically be with my friends or partner, I use technology to feel connected to them. It's those small moments in the movie that reminded me that although the industry has some work to do in disability representation, there are steps in the right direction, such as ABC's comedy Speechless, which stars Micah Fowler, an actor with cerebral palsy. We need more portrayals of disabled characters who don't die, become cured, or find out they were never disabled all along. We need more disabled characters who just live. And honestly, I think this is such a beautifully written article. I think that it's so fair. In fact, probably even giving the movie too much credit or too much grace, but I imagine that that's something that people living with disabilities have probably had to do in a society that has continuously, without fail, not been very accommodating to them. You know, it must get exhausting to have to give everybody else grace, but nothing's really changing. Either way, I still give her props. Besides, it's miles better than this really strange article I found on The Guardian, of all places, that describes the movie as a bland teen romance, totally devoid of hormones. It says, here is yet another teen romance like The Fault in Our Stars and If I Stay, inflicting a critical illness on its adolescent protagonist, turning boy meets girl into a life or death crisis. Sorry, y'all. I heard a bee and I had to log in. Anyways, where were we? Adapted from Nicole Yoon's YA novel, it stars Amanda Stenberg, a housebound 17-year-old with an immunodeficiency disease that makes her allergic to everything in the outside world, especially Ollie, Nick Robinson, the hot skater kid who has just moved in next door. Unable to hook up IRL, the pair start instant messaging, beginning a blandly grown-up, sex-free relationship. Both appear totally devoid of teenage hormones, and Maddie is freakily well-adjusted for a teenager who has never set foot out of the home. This is anemic stuff, though perhaps its target audience won't care. And you know what, Cath Clark? You're right. The target audience didn't give a fuck. Expecting a hormone-laced, sort of sexually charged relationship between a girl who has literally never left the house and has only ever breathed in filtered air and has an immunodeficiency disease, and a random boy who just moved in next door is crazy to me. Like, Miss Thing, what were your expectations for this movie? Anyway, with that being said, I'll leave all of Alaina Leary's links as well as all of the articles I'm going to be discussing in this video in the description. I'm still deciding on whether or not I'm going to leave the Guardian article link in the description. We'll see, Miss Cath. But I do think that Alaina Leary is an all-around amazing writer and that you should check her out. And I'm going to leave all the other links that I use from other disabled creators. Now, let's get to my favorite topic, where we talk about Hollywood's colorism and what I like to call the interracial propaganda. Now, this issue is evidently quite a personal one, I guess, and quite a niche one, because I couldn't actually find a lot of articles or information online about people who shared my views. In fact, most of the articles that were even talking about race were actually praising the movie on diversity and using a Black actress. And I guess also I do need to, state that it was a win for Nicole Yoon to have her book in movie form. It was a win for Stella McGee to have a movie release that she directed. You know what I mean? It's a win for the girls, but we just can't ignore some of the stuff that exists in the movie. I did, however, find an article, finally, written by Akua Gyamfi, reviewing the movie, explaining why it wasn't for parents. And in that article, she very quickly states, "This is a win for female directors and screenwriters. It's a win for Jamaican-American author Nicola Yoon. It's not often a debut novel gets the Hollywood makeover, by a Black female YA author at that. It's also a win for having diverse stories told, especially when representation in the YA world of film and novel doesn't often venture into Black, brown, and yellow narratives." And yellow narratives? Are we still saying yellow? There's something to be considered that this is an interracial story, which Hollywood finds more palatable. I could also ponder Pauline's wig weave in contrast to Maddie's free and abundant curls, and the whole politics of Black hair and all its types. But this possibly isn't a discussion to wage in a review over whether or not this film is good. And honestly, I think she was right to stop there. Unfortunately, I think that's a very politically correct way of highlighting the issue, which I don't blame her for. As someone who's spoken about colorism before, someone who has given up speaking about colorism, especially as a dark-skinned Black woman, you need to tread fucking carefully, but you need to tread like kind when you're talking about colorism to the gurus, because the girls will gaslight the hell out of you till you feel crazy. And to just protect your peace, I think a lot of us learn to either stop talking about it, or if we do bring it up like kind. Especially when she says this isn't a discussion to wage about whether the movie is good. She had to add that caveat of girl, chillax, I'm not, whatever. So, whilst this is obviously an issue with Hollywood, we can blame Hollywood. We know that a lot of romance movies that have the Black woman as the female romantic interest are with a man that is not Black. And if it is with a man that's Black, she's usually suffering and in pain. The only romance sort of movies where the Black woman is not suffering and in pain by the hands of the man is when it's not with a Black man, or more specifically, when it's with a white man. So we could say this is a Hollywood problem. However, I do have a couple of words for Nicola Yoon. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to address my sister, because she does have a track record of doing stuff like this. Obviously, I'm gonna say this is obviously alleged, and this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is fact. This is just what I think. So don't come for me. But Nicola, we might have to go to the back near shade. Because do you need that? I'm just kidding. I love Town. So not only is the romance in everything between an interracial couple, but so is the romance in one of her other notable books and movies. The Sun is also a Star. The female love interest is a Black girl of Jamaican descent who is an immigrant in America, and the male love interest is an East Asian man of Korean descent who is Korean American. In the movie, the actor is once again played by a light-skinned biracial character, Yara Shahidi. And no shade to Yara Shahidi, because in the book, the girl is described as being Black with a big afro. And I guess by Western standards, you could argue that Yara Shahidi does meet these requirements for the character. So we could say that it's, up for interpretation, but it does say something that their interpretation constantly only involves light-skinned or biracial actresses. A Jamaican immigrant that's coming to, America. And you couldn't find any dark-skinned Black girls with a big afro? Come on, I don't believe you. I just don't fucking believe you. You wanted Yara because obviously she's a household name, and also probably Amandla was probably doing something else at the time, and Yara was the best light skin for the job. So I mean, they do look pretty similar, to be fair, so no shade. But Nicola also has another book called Instructions for Dancing, which is between a Black girl and a Black boy. However, she literally doesn't even get that happy ending romance, because basically the girl can see, without spoiling it too much, basically the girl can see into the future, and she sees that her love interest is gonna die, basically. So she's not gonna have her happily ever after. He's gonna die. But of course, she still chooses to stick it out with him and to stay with him, of course, which is fair. It's cute and all, but I just feel like, why is it always the black girls, whenever it's with a black man, getting these types of stories that are like struggle love, pain love? Like, you know what I fucking mean? Like, it gets to a point. You know what I mean? Like, no happily ever for my sister. Her love interest dies. Like, girl, she also has 2 other books which she has actually co-written with other authors, called Blackout and Whiteout, and both books feature black love stories, especially, and also like queer black love stories, which is great. Amazing, Nicola, love you down. However, within both books, there are various colorist tropes that are honestly way too intricate and sinister to get into in this video. But I will say, Nicola, I'm watching you. And if you don't stop, you may have to begin to cough in 3 days. You might have to begin to cough because I just feel like... But then, I will say, and God forgive me for talking about the union, but I just have to add that this is a picture of Nicola and her husband. And again, love down, and God bless them and their children and their generations, but it just makes me think, Nicola, what is your tea for real? Like, what's your tea? On that note, also, can we talk about how they've always got my sister Amanda Stenberg always posted up with a white man? They have her post up with a white man in everything. They had her post up with a white man in the Darkest Minds, and also in The Hate U Give. Like, in The Hate U Give, her literal black love interest dies within minutes of the movie. Like, what is going on? Like, I just feel like out of all, like, really, the one time that like she has like a black love interest, you kill him off. And then in The Darkest Minds, the only other black boy that was there was like seen as like the undateable black character, of course. And he was also like put as this sort of like beta against, like, in comparison to the white man. You know, Dick Harrison, I think his name is. Or is it Harris Dickinson? Let me check that. Anyway, a little caveat actually about that boy is, I might be crazy, but I'm pretty sure on New Year's this year, I was at a party at a club and I literally saw him. He came up to me and I think he asked me a question or something. He asked me where something was, and like, I don't think I had the answer to it, so I said I don't really know. But then I was like, wait, are you the guy that played in that movie? Of course. At the time that I saw him, I did not remember the name of the movie. Fuck. I could have said something like, and do you know how I know that this was him? Because when I said, are you the guy that played in that movie? He literally just went like this. He was like, and then he left. He ran away. Like, girl, like, I feel like an average person would be like, what movie are you talking about? Like, I'm not an actor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure it was him. Fucking hell. I'm not gonna yay. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, with all that being said, I would have been making this video if I didn't absolutely adore this movie with all of my heart and all of my soul, and if it didn't mean something to me, even beyond the PHOBISMS. Still a comfort movie for me, and one that, you know, makes me happy and rejuvenates me when I watch it. First of all, the colors of this movie are immaculate. Like, I remember just thinking when I was 13, like, I loved how crisp everything looked, from the objects to the food to the characters, bitch, even down to the clothes. I wanted Maddie's wardrobe so bad, and if you watch that movie, Maddie's wardrobe is nothing special, but it's just the fact that the clothes looked so crisp and clean. It really forwarded that, like, that notion of like her being in like a sterilized house. But even outside of the house, like when they went to Hawaii, like the colors like in that trip, oh my god, Ollie and Maddie looked so good. Everybody looked so good and so crisp. It was just incredible to me. I love the color scheme. I also really enjoyed the soundtrack of the movie. I think that it was really well placed and it was very intentional. I think that like every single song they put inside the movie like made sense for whatever scene it was in. Like there's even this one particular jingle, it literally makes no sense, but I still play this in my head every single time that I think of tranquility and peace and like being safe and stable. Also, although I don't have SCID or any other medical condition that is even similar to what Maddie was struggling with, and I literally just talked about how Hollywood is always using light-skinned biracial actresses as opposed to ones that look more like me, I still did see myself a lot in Maddie. I think that she was always very awkward and didn't always really understand how to be a person, which in her case makes a lot of sense as she was never really allowed to leave the house. So she didn't really, I feel like it seemed like she was just learning how to be a person for the first time, which is something that I feel like I've always related to. Like, I feel like every day it feels like I'm learning how to be human for the first time. Also, when I was a kid, I was never really allowed to like leave the house and stuff to like hang out with friends or whatever. And I also never really took risks and stuff like those like teenage adolescent risks of like going outside. I was also like trans. So I didn't really feel like in my body enough anyway to want to go outside and want to experience the world. So I spent a lot of time daydreaming. I would just daydream about like a lot, like about going places and being this person that gets to see some of the world and gets to do all this crazy shit and gets to like just be wild and free, you know? So I really related to like her just feeling like there's more outside these walls. There's more to be had from life. You know what I mean? There's more. There's boys to see, and it's no shade. And finally, I'm also a super romantic person. I feel like people that know me today might not necessarily see me as a romantic person because I'm so like guarded and so like I'm so no nonsense when it comes to boys. Like I don't really romanticize the things that they do anymore because I've just been like hurt and disappointed a lot by them. But internally, I'm still a very romantic person. And even though men have always been like a source of pain for me, I've always still been attracted to them, you know? Or at least like the idea of what they could be. And I felt like Ollie was like my sort of dream boy in a sense. Like, yes, of course, you could say, oh, that's just because he's like cute or whatever and stuff like that. Yes, he's cute and funny, that's correct. But it was also like the fact that he saw her from in the window and immediately he thought to himself, I have to have her. The fact that he came that same night to her house with a shitty bun cake, yes, but a bun cake nonetheless, to ask her mother, is your daughter at home? The fact that it's the way that he looks at her, the way that he's interested in her, he's intrigued by her. He actually wants to know like about what she thinks, her likes, her dislikes, her hobbies, her activities. He meets her on her level. You know what I mean? He's not like, oh, I can't come into this house because it's so decontaminated. I'm not gonna do all that. He literally throws everything in the wind and goes to Hawaii because Maddie has bought these tickets. Yes, it could also be because he wants to go to Hawaii. Fine. But even things like his sexual attraction to her, this was what really, really got me. Even the way he was sexually attracted to her was not in a way that felt consuming or that felt oppressive or that he wanted to sort of like, I don't know, consume Maddie. And even if he like, it felt like it was just a manifestation of the love and care that he already had for her, for the adoration that he already had for her. There's this one particular scene when they're in Hawaii that is literally like burned into my heart because it's just the cutest thing ever, and how awkward he is even like trying to state the fact that like, you know, he's seeing like this tight thing on her body and he's just thinking, bitch, I want to roll around the fucking mattress. But he just doesn't even know how to say that. He's like,
Maddie? You're in a swimsuit.
Yeah, I am.
It's
Small.
It's small. It's small.
Yeah.
I'll just be out here.
Yeah, okay.
That he's like, it's small. You know what I mean? Fuck. And this is gonna sound so pathetic, but even the fact that he didn't stop loving her after he had sex with her, that was everything for me. Like, that was everything to me, especially when I was 13, and like, that has never really been my reality. I mean, to this day, it hasn't been my reality, to be honest. Like, I've never like been intimate with a boy that has loved me after. That's the sort of thing that made me just feel like, wow, Ollie is the boy that's gonna save me. And even the way that the sex is done is not in a way that is, again, all consuming of you, or like oppressing you, or like trying to like belittle you, or like put you down. It's sex that actually feels fulfilling and nourishing and opens your mind to like more things. There's a specific way that I feel like I'm literally about to cry because it just means so much to me. But there's a specific way that the novel described their like sexual encounter that just like, Maddie says, "We gather each other up. We are lips and arms and legs and bodies entangled. He raises himself above me and we are wordless. And then we are joined and moving silently. We are joined and I know all of the secrets of the universe." I remember reading that when I was like a kid and just thinking like, wow, like how, like imagine that. Imagine sex that doesn't feel like it diminishes you or that it destroys you or poisons you, but sex that feels like it's enlightened you, you know? Like, I was just like, wow. But yeah, it felt like Ollie would have been the boy that would have saved me, even if it was only a fantasy. You know what I mean? Anyway, that is all for our little analysis on Everything the movie. This video is one that I'm super proud of because I've always just wanted to really make videos like this where I like do it sounds so crazy. It actually doesn't, because a lot of people are like this, but I've always wanted to do videos where I like do research, you know, make an outline, like gather like all this stuff and like make like a cute ass video that just feels like cozy and comforting, and like it's just, this is always the vibe that I've wanted to bring, and I'm so proud of myself for really sitting down and like doing it. I've had the idea since like May, but I never actually sat down to do it because I never had the stability to do so. But now that I do, and I have a lot less on my mind, I was just like, it's time to do it. It's time to finally make it happen. Like, to do all the research and writing the outline, the script, and getting the, you know, the media and everything I was going to use for the video, it took like a week and some change, honestly, with at least 2 days where I literally spent the entire day working on those, like the outline of the script and the video. And the part that really gets me is I'm not even getting paid for this shit. I'm doing this solely for my own fucking enjoyment because I'm just like weird as hell. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching the video all the way through. It means a lot to me that anybody would sit down to watch a video that I create and watch all the way through. And if even one person is like, oh my god, I like this video, my job here is done. Like, the fact that I can make a video and someone will be like, I loved this video, like, bitch, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's everything to me. Anyway, I really hope that I'm more when I put my editing where my mouth is, and that I can bring more videos to you guys. I definitely will not be bringing these types of videos quite regularly because, as you can see, they're quite long and they require a lot of like planning and stuff. But I'll try to definitely do it like again. It's definitely gonna happen again, but I can't promise when, if that makes sense. But yeah, that is all from me. I will see you guys in another video, and I hope that you get everything that you desire in this world, because you deserve it.